What's going on, fam? Scranton Strangler here. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. We're pretty much every day. We live stream college football, anything related, NFL related, and on the off days we try to have some fun playing some video games as well. But today we're going to be talking about the opening day of the NFL. It is the start of officially the actual start of NFL season, the 100th season, as you can see, as I'm sure you already know. And we're going to start it off with a very appropriate matchup, a very long time matchup, one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL, where the Green Bay Packers travel all the way to Chicago and take on the Bears. So it's going to be very fun, very hard-hitting matchup. Obviously, it's a divisional game, in the good old north of NFC. But anybody who's watched football, they know this is going to be essentially a rematch of last year's first game of the season, where it was just an epic game. Aaron Rodgers, comeback king, comes over, losing 20-0, goes into the fourth quarter, losing 20-3, and then comes back and ends up winning that game 24-23, even on a hurt knee, if you will, which will I'm going to bring that up here in a couple of seconds. But so that's what we're really going to be kind of just going over, talking about. Bears are actually getting 3 points in this game. It started out as 3, and it's moved to the 3.5 line, so they are favored by that much. But there's a lot of change in this game. I know they play each other, twice a year. It's always just a huge rivalry game. But this one seems a little bit different. That it might be, just for me, it feels different. There's a lot of new changes in this one on both sides of the football, on both teams, if you will. So we're going to start out with the Green Bay Packers. Biggest change for them is going to be their head coach. Obviously, they bring in an offensive mind, which I think is going to help kind of open up their offensive game, if you will. Last year, Mike McCarthy has been there for so long. He's a great coach, but I feel like the two teams last year that really suffered from predictability as far as play calling goes were the Packers and the Cowboys. And as you can tell, both of them have kind of tried to fix that one. They get an offensive mind. Green Bay gets an offensive-minded coach in Matt LaFleur. And then the Dallas Cowboys bring in Kellen Moore, that's been on their roster as an actual quarterback, came from Boise State for a couple of years, really the only left-handed quarterback that was in the league for a while. And then they make him the offensive coordinator for them. So he's going to be the one calling the plays. He's going to bring a very young, all these coaches are trying to bring the young offensive mind into it to kind of spark some energy, like the next Sean McVay or the Cliff Kingsbury. Hopefully he'll work out, things like that. So that's what they're trying to essentially do on the offense. It's just kind of hard whenever you have a caliber quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. So a lot of people seem to think that they're going to butt heads. Well, because he's butted heads with all the other head coaches that have been there. So this one, again, is going to be a little bit different. I think so far, everything from what I've heard sounds good, and it's just going to how it translates to games. If they start losing games, well, then I think we're going to see some headbutts. If not, then all is well. So it's going to be good for them. Like I said, they bring in two different minds that are going to kind of control both of them. On both sides. So they have Matt LaFleur for the offense is going to help with that, some sort of predictability that they were having trouble with. And then on Chicago side, everybody knows about their prolific defense that they're going to bring, led by the main Mac himself and Khalil Mack. But changes arise whenever you have a whole new, brand new offensive coordinator. Vic Fangio, is going to be now the head coach at Denver. So there is some sort of a transition there, but they are in good hands because then they bring Chuck Pagano in as the defensive coordinator in Chicago. So, and then this is going to be Matt Nagy, the head coach of Chicago. This is his second year. That's going to be as their head coach. Had a great year last year. I thought he did extremely well for a first-time head coach, and he looks to kind of improve on that one. When you take a team that's 4-12 and then go for 12-4, I think that it shows that you're doing something right. So kind of moving into this one, you have strength on strength, and I think that's probably going to be one of the best matchups in this game. The best position group that all around that the Packers have, you're not looking at quarterback or anything like that, is going to be their offensive line. As a whole, their offensive line is their anchor to this team. Then you look at Chicago, and their position group that anchors that team is going to be the defensive line. So this one is strength on strength, going to be a lot decided kind of in the trenches. Can the offensive line hold, Khalil Mack, Trevathan kind of in the middle. Then they've got so many playmakers from the middle to the two outsides to the linebackers, and then of course Eddie kind of in the back. He's the ball hawk of that defense. So it's pretty good. Now, a couple side notes that I have: Chicago hasn't won a season opener since 2013. That's too long. So that does concern me a little bit. They kind of go off to a rocky start. As past comes to show you. Another one now on the defensive side is going to be for the Packers. They have a very new defense. If you look at this squad that's going to start here in 20 minutes versus the squad that started in this game last season, out of 11 players, 8 of them are going to be new. 8 of them. So it's a very young. They had a great draft, if you will. Had a good preseason and getting some of those defenders back. Unfortunately, they do lose Randall Cobb, but they still have Devontae Adams. They have Jimmy Graham up the middle, and they've got a couple other guys they're going to look to kind of step up, and Allison, and you can kind of go on and so forth. So they've done a good job, but unfortunately, for the Packers, that it's still, because they are young, there is cause for some sort of concern. That's going to help Mitchell Trubisky, which is probably their question mark. He's a solid quarterback. He's just not the strongest passer. He's not the strongest decision maker. He's not even the. He's if you look at some of the other quarterbacks in just strictly in that division, a lot of people would probably put him fourth. So him and Matthew Stafford will probably go back and forth. You could argue for both sides, but so this one's going to be decided in the trenches. What they really need to do is get Aaron Rodgers going. That's why I'm going to go with the Packers in this game, even though Chicago's favored. It's in Chicago. The quarterback is I have to go with the two-time MVP, Super Bowl MVP. He's healthy. He's got their strength is their offensive line. They have a very underrated running back in Aaron Jones. They've got Devontae Adams, and another key for that one is not only to get Aaron going with those kind of short passes, but really positional awareness. Where are you going to put your playmakers, right? Your biggest playmaker is going to be Devontae Adams. Well, the cornerbacks for the Bears, they stay. They don't follow personnel, if you will. They stay on the sides that they are assigned to. 99% of the time last year they did that. So whenever you do that, the biggest weakness on the Bears defense is going to be their slot cornerback, if you will. He actually gave up the 3rd most yards in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Screen. Thank you. Sorry. So Screen, I'm sure if you haven't heard from him, he came from Cleveland back in the day. He moves over there. He is their slot cornerback, and he gave up the 3rd most yards from a slot receiver last season. So what do? You put your best playmaker in the best possible position, put him in, you can move him all, of course, all around the field because he's that type of a player. He mainly goes to that left outside, but in this type of a matchup, whenever you want to get the win, you want to start out early in a divisional game, put Devontae Adams in the slot, kind of move him away, essentially from their top cornerbacks, Fuller and things like that. So, and then and Eddie over at safety. So another one, a key I think for the Packers is going to be, hey, you gotta protect your quarterback. Now they do a good job because they've got a fantastic offensive line, but got to think back to the last game, this exact game, week 1 last season. Aaron Rodgers goes down, and without big man coming in and saving the day, that's another L on a very disappointing season for the Packers. That for the Bears, they went 12-4. They were this close to going 13-3. So for them, they got to protect the quarterback. They got to get the ball out earlier. They really need to to get the running game going too. Now the running game, what that does, obviously, it opens up the pass game. If you have a very good running game, you can play action extremely well, and that's actually what Matt LaFleur does a lot. If I think he was like 5th most in the NFL last year because he was the offensive coordinator for Tennessee, the Titans last year. So you look at what he can do. He does play action 5th most last year. Whenever you look at the Packers, out of the 37 quarterbacks that qualified for the stat, that threw a number of passes to qualify for this, he was 30th out of 37 in play action passes. So what Matt LaFleur is going to do is he's going to try to get you some running game, so they respect that run. Remember, Aaron Jones, the running back for the Green Bay Packers, he's a very underrated runner. So get him going, and that opens up the play action game for Aaron Rodgers. So I think that's really, really huge right there. Now on the other side of the ball, the Chicago Bears, what they really need to do, in 2 words, Khalil Mack. He stepped into this game the same time last year, only being a Chicago Bear for like 2 days, and he completely dominated that game. So, and he's already said he's just ready to hit somebody. He's hungry, so he's going to be showing up for the game. What they need to do is they need to put him on the right side. Bucatiari, I believe is the last name. He's the left guard. The left tackle for Green Bay. He's their best lineman out of that slew of very, very good linemen. So what they need to do is, obviously they need to put him on Aaron Rodgers' open side right there. His name's Balaga, something like that. That right tackle. Put Khalil on him. Now they've got 2 very, very capable pass rushers on the ends right there. But obviously Khalil Mack's the Mac Daddy in the NFL. So you're going to want to put him, on your weaker tackle essentially. Even though it's not on your backside that you really want your guy go attacking, he can get it done either way. But for looking at a very impressive offensive line, you'll want to put him against Balagu, which is the right tackle. Another thing that Green Bay does is blitz a lot. I think they blitzed, what was it? I think it was like 8th most in the NFL last year. If I remember my stats correctly, I think they blitzed 8th most in the NFL this past season. Now, out of those 11 starters that started like I was saying earlier, out of those 11 starters that started this game last year, 8 are new. So I don't know how much that's incorporated. I just know that the defensive coordinator likes to blitz a lot. So what the Bears need to do, obviously, is get the ball out of Trubisky's hands, set up those short plays, get his confidence up, get those sideline to sideline plays, because they're a very splash play team. They are a bump and run, kind of grinding team, and then they hit you with a splash play, such as a Tariq Cohen, running down the field, that little 5'6" guy. That dude's absolutely incredible. So, they don't have Jordan Howard anymore in the run game, but they bring in a very capable rookie from David Montgomery out of Iowa State in the Big 12. He's a ground pounder as well. So maybe not as fast as Jordan, Howard, or Shifty, but he's he's going to hit you right in the mouth, and fight for those extra yards as opposite of Tariq Cohen, which is that 3rd down back, kind of like the Darren Sproles of the Bears, if you will. So they need to get those playmakers the ball in space, get them sideline to sideline, because if they're blitzing, they're coming right at that quarterback in the center of the field, and you want to get it out in space, to those shifty guys. So exploit the corners. Another one that I had was the cornerback, they kind of almost have a similar kryptonite, if you will. So they're the cornerback, the third string slot quarterback for the Bears. He's not very good. That's why you kind of have to. He gave up third most yards last season, but the cornerback, the slot corner for the Packers, Tramon Williams, he gave up like 8 touchdowns against him last season, and the quarterbacks that played against him that were throwing against him last season had a passer rating of like 124 or something like that. So both similar guys, they're going to have their third string wide receivers, those slot wide receivers, really just step up and make some big plays for them tonight. So it's just a matter of how they can get the ball to their playmakers in space before that pass rush kind of comes and affects the quarterback. Now, on the bright side for that is why I'm taking them is the improvisation. I don't even know how to say that word. When improvising. Aaron Rodgers it's when he's at his best is when he is improvising. So that's kind of why I'm taking him on this is get that pass rush going. Say that the Bears actually can get to him and create some pressure. Well, that he usually throws it pretty dang well on the run or whenever he's kind of moving around, making the pocket, left to right, that kind of thing. So I'm going to the line. The Bears are favored by 3. The over/under is 46.5. I'm actually, a lot of people are going a low-scoring game, Bears around 3 or so. I'm actually going to take the Packers, and I'm going with the over. With a new defensive coordinator, I know that doesn't mean too much, but with that and with Aaron being as good as he is, he's actually healthy. He's got some really good playmakers there. I think they're going to score more points than people realize, and then with Green Bay's defense being so new and just young, really, I just don't trust him. I think Mitchell Trubisky he's a solid quarterback. I don't think people give him as much credit as they should. So I'm actually going to be taking the Packers in this game. I'm going Packers 30, Bears 24. I'm so sorry. One of my best friends is is a Bears fan, and I'm sure that he's going to be kind of yelling at me for a little bit. So just in that one. So the running game going, it's going to open up for the play action. Old Packers, they were 30th. Like I was saying, they're 30th in the play action last year. Play action is going to be a big part of it this year because Matt LaFleur, he's going to take it to the 5th overall. He's bringing in the 5th overall play action, offense. So those are kind of my main reasons for why. So if you have any other thing you want to interject, if you have any reasons why I'm just absolutely wrong and the Bears are going to dominate, then make sure to comment. I'm going to be posting all this, on all my social media like I usually do. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Now, tomorrow we do have one game in college football, which is going to be Boise State. I'll go into that tomorrow. We'll kind of preview that one, and then we'll go into the weekend with a head of steam. We got all day Saturday college football, all day Sunday NFL, and then we've got 2 games on Monday for the Monday Night Football game. Super excited for this one. The game should be starting here in the next 10 minutes or so because football is back, baby. It's the 100th season, and I just cannot wait for it. So, again, everybody for stopping by. I appreciate y'all all commenting, all kind of sharing your thoughts, stuff like that, and continue to do that. If you already haven't, make sure to create that account and hit the follow button at the top. Because y'all are the reason why I do this. I just want to make sure I'm doing a good job. So, love y'all. Scranton Strangler out. Hey there. How's it going? I miss y'all. Hope y'all are doing all right. Y'all going to be watching the Packers game coming up soon, or y'all just trying to make it home now? Whew, it's a little hot in here. I need to get my fan going. Yeah, that's awesome. Man, usually I forget stuff, Oh, I did forget one little thing. It wasn't a stat or anything like that, but just something that if you're not really looking forward to football season tonight, it's like, I don't care about the Packers or the Bears. I just care about. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. I love y'all, and this podcast is why I do it. So if people are like, oh, I'm not a Packers fan, I'm not a Bears fan, at home, sure, we'll call you soon. Good deal, good deal. I love talking with him. He's another football guru that I've learned everything from. So. If you don't care about the NFL season, just let this video of last year's Game 1 Bears and the Packers game. I mentioned earlier that Aaron Rodgers went out early in the game with a pretty bad knee injury, it looked like, and then he comes in, Superman's it. He comes in, he's losing 20-0 with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and then absolutely wins it at the very end, 24-23. But his post-game interview, I don't care who you're a fan of, it makes me laugh every time because the dude is so drugged up. It's not even funny. He's on some pain pills. I'm sorry, and it cracks me up. So if you're not excited about the NFL, just get excited about something like this. This should at least put a smile on your face.
After you're trailing 20-0 when you come back, you've played in some big games, Aaron.
Big games.
Put this one into words.
It's hard to.
He takes breaths in between his words. His eyes are.
Would have had to take something really catastrophic injury-wise to keep me in the second half. I went in the locker room, did all the tests. Our ability to get it loosened up. But I knew once I got back on the field, the game started going.
My knee. That's what he says.
The injury.
My knee.
My knee.
I just felt something in it. Just had a hard time putting weight on it. Doc and I had a conversation there. We did the test. I told him I was going back.
You come back on
Oh.
nothing. There was a look in your
That's it, but just cracks me up. That dude is on some painkillers, and and he knew that everybody could tell. It just cracked me up. So nothing. There you go. Nothing big, but I just wanted to make at least everybody smile before the stream ended. There we go, because you can't help but not laugh at that one. So, anyways, Packers, Bears coming up here in about 5-10 minutes. I'm going Packers 30-24. Let me know what you think. Everybody, appreciate it. Scranton Strangler out. Bless y'all. Have a good one.